It was a cool spring night in 1866 in the quiet and peaceful town of Perryville, Kentucky. 78-year-old Polly Bottom had spent the day with her young granddaughter, and after a full day of fun and adventure, the little girl crawled in the big poster bed with her grandmother, and the two settled in for the night. Just as the widowed grandmother and her granddaughter slipped into slumber, there was a huge crash sound coming from the main room. The woman and little girl sprang from their bed to find that a gang of three men had kicked in the front door and proceeded to rob Polly Bottom and held her at gunpoint. Polly was a lady held in high esteem in the community, and when it came to material possessions, she had more than most. The men saw the comfortable lifestyle enjoyed by Polly and decided to take it for themselves. The robbers were busting with confidence in that the old woman wouldn't give them any trouble. So much so they didn't even bother to cover their faces or take any safeguards to hide their identity. However, the men underestimated Polly Bottom. As soon as the men left, she instantly called the sheriff and notified him that she had been robbed and told him exactly who had done the dirty deed. She quickly reported the three men and identified one of the men by name as William Taylor, who was a well-known criminal in the area. Two of the three men were tracked down quickly, and they were tried and sent to the Kentucky State Penitentiary. However, William Taylor managed to escape arrest at the time. Taylor knew that the only evidence against him was the eyewitness testimony of Polly Bottom. He decided there was only one thing to do. Polly Bottom had to die. Taylor came by his criminal lifestyle quite normal, as his own father was also a well-known criminal. Taylor and his father met and made a plan to kill Polly Bottom. On the cool morning of April of 1966, Taylor and his father waited until midnight to make their move. The two men quietly and slowly entered the front door of the sleeping Polly Bottom with her granddaughter cuddled up beside her. William Taylor put his pistol to Polly's head, and as she woke up, Taylor said, "We have come to kill you, you damned old bitch." Polly became overcome with fear, and she slid out of bed to her knees on the floor. She raised her hands and pleaded for mercy. She begged the men not to kill her. However, William Taylor paid back her efforts by sending a bullet into her brain. The two men left thinking that the little girl would be too afraid to say anything. They were wrong. The little girl ran down the road a half mile to her uncle's house, Henry Bottom, and told him what had happened. The entire town was woke, and the bells in the middle of town began to ring, with folks yelling, "Murder in town! Murder in town!" The sheriff talked to the little girl in detail, and she gave an exact and detailed description of what had happened, with a sense of bravery not expected from a girl so young. She told the sheriff the murder was none other than William Taylor. A manhunt was instantly instigated, and Taylor and his father were arrested shortly in nearby Harrodsburg, Kentucky, where the men had tried to escape arrest. The two men were held in the jail awaiting trial. However, that day would never come. After the little girl made the positive ID, an angry mob broke into the jail and dragged William Taylor and his father out into the street for instant justice. Taylor was hung from an oak tree on the outskirts of town. His body was allowed to remain hanging for 2 days to serve as a reminder to any criminals that this kind of behavior was not tolerated in Perryville, Kentucky.